Okay, so by way of review, um, we have seen the definition of decision making to be the process of making a choice or making the best choice among numerous or various alternative course of action. We have seen the processes you have to go through, 7 of them, from identifying the problem to reviewing the decision. Now let's look at types of decision that you can make. Types of decision. So there are several of them. We'll discuss a few. Okay, the first one, as you see on the screen, is strategic decision. Strategic decision. I think one of you will have to do the reading for me, and then we discuss strategic decision. Prof. Bright, please, can you read what we have under strategic decision? And then maybe you can add your own understanding and views.
Types of decisions. Strategic decisions. A company's strategic decisions are very important decisions to be made by top managers pertaining to the company's policies.
Thank you. So, do you have any understanding of what you have read?
Yes, so please. What I understand. They said a company's strategy is very important in the business.
Okay.
That's
okay. Any other thoughts from any of my professors? Strategic decision is very important and is made by top managers pertaining to the company's policies. Prof. Portia, you want to give us your thoughts on this one?
And said, please, sorry, I wasn't actually following. Please, what were you saying?
So you see on your screen types of decision, and one of them is strategic decisions. And if you read what's there, what further understanding can you share about strategic decisions?
Okay, sir. Please, for the strategic decision. Yeah, they're saying it's supposed to be made by the top managers, which is maybe the appointed directors and others who have been given the huge like in the business. So they have to make these plans according to the policies, the company's policies, before it's passed down to the other level of management.
Okay, that is great. Thank you. Okay. Any further? Okay, so great. Now, strategic. The clue here is that these decisions are made by top level managers. And I believe we all know the levels of management, right? Top, middle, and then lower. The top level, we are all aware that this is made up of the executive members of the business or the organization, including the board of directors to the CEO, right? And other departmental or managerial heads. Okay. These are top officials, and we are aware that these are the group of people who take very important decisions for the company regarding its goals and objectives. So they formulate the policies of the organization. And we are seeing that this group of managers normally take or make choices that are referred to as strategic choices or strategic decisions. So this type of decision is so because it is made by top officials and it borders about the broad policies of the organization towards its goals and objectives. And I hope that should be okay to my professors. However, we can interrogate further and see what are policies anyway. What is a policy? A company's policy. What does it mean? Organizational policy. What does it mean? My professors want a brofa. What is a policy? Organizational policy. Yes, Bridget.
This organizational policy refers to a set of rules or principles that govern an organization's decision, actions, and behavior.
Okay. So they are guidelines, right? Guidelines as to how the business or the organization wants to conduct itself in achieving its objectives. Thank you. I think I have two more hands, Portia and Bridget. But let me see if I can call some of my interesting professors, like the gentleman. Ethan is okay. Ethan is around. Ethan, what can you add with regards to policy?
Yes,
Yeah. What is your understanding of an organization's policy?
Maybe something that how can I say this?
Okay. So yes, it's true. I think even in various schools, each school has its own policy, right? Yeah. Like in Fansipim, per their policy, they don't do business as a program, right? And St. Augustine's, we don't do visual arts. Okay, so policies are more or less like the direction the organization wants to go. We want to do things this way and not that way, right? So in formulating policies, we need to make decisions because it's a choice we are making. So organizational policies broadly covers the guidelines and principles, procedures, okay, and expectations of that organization and how they want to go about it. So it covers areas like governance and leadership. So if you enter some organizations, they prefer the democratic form of leadership to autocratic or whatever. That is their policy. Okay. Employee conduct and behavior. There are some organizations, if you are late for even a second, you are fired. That is their policy, right? How they comply with laws, okay, how they protect data or their information. All these borders about a company's or an organization's policy. So policies are just guidelines, okay, or rules of procedures and how the organization goes about its business. Okay, so strategic decisions borders about all these things that we have just spoken about. Thank you, professors. The next one is tactical decisions. Tactical. Why are my English professors? I beg you, I don't understand. No, tactical. What is tactics? What are your tactics? Prof. Selicum. Well, you can read what's there and then you add your version. And I think that would be beautiful. Tactical decisions.
Tactical decisions. Tactical decisions by managers involve choosing specific actions to achieve operational goals and objectives. Effective tactical decisions help organizations implement their strategic plans and adapt to changing circumstances. So please, I think this is done by the middle level management.
Awesome.
And also, tactics refers to maybe skills or actions used to, like, you can use to maybe solve a problem or a challenge.
Okay.
And
Okay,
yes,
that's
please,
awesome.
that's all.
Awesome. I love the bit where she says that these decisions are mostly made by the middle level managers, and that is right. Very true. Now, what do the middle level managers do? What they do is they try to break down the policies and guidelines of the company, which has been set by the top level managers. Okay, they break it down for the operational managers or the lower level managers, right? So tactical decisions here has to deal with choices of things that can help implement the policies set by the top level managers. Now, let me cite a classical example, a relevant one for us. In our schools, we know the top level managers, like the headmaster, the board of directors. Okay, in some schools, the assistant headmasters are part, right? So they sit and formulate all the policies, okay, the guidelines, the broad goals and objectives of the school. When they are done, they pass it on to the next level of managers, which comprises, in terms of academics, the heads of department. In terms of domestic, the senior housemaster and the housemasters, right? So these couple of managers break that broad policy down. So let me cite, for example, in St. Augustine's College, the top level managers have formulated a policy, and their policy is centered on three key areas: academic excellence, sanitation or good sanitation, and discipline. Now, these things are broad because if you speak about discipline, it's very broad, right? Now, they pass it on to the HODs or the heads of department and the senior housemaster and housemasters, and they try to break it down. Okay, if managers, top managers want the organization to be top on discipline, what do we have to do? So you see HODs formulating policies like, okay, then we have to ensure that we go for morning preps and evening preps. We have to look at having silence hour, right? So they try to break that academic excellence into achievable bits. With regards to the housemaster and the senior housemaster, they'll say, okay, then we have to make sure that the student wake up early and sleep early, right? They have to do their chores on time. So they break that down with regards to the sanitation and the discipline. Discipline, they will say, okay, if you break bounds, you go to DC, you'll be given punishment. Now, after that, it is passed on to who? The next level, which is the lower level, which in our school comprises the prefects, the school prefects, and house prefects, etc., and some teachers, right? And they ensure that yes, we go for preps, okay, we go for dining at the right time, we clean our environment, and do other things that will help us achieve those three thematic areas. Okay, so tactical decisions has to do with helping the organization to implement the strategic plans or policies. Okay. Now, with what I've said, I think we are clear that the routine or operational decisions has to do with the choices we make during our daily routines or activities in the organizations. So like I said, for the school, every day we have to go to class and teach, right? So making a choice as to teach maybe in BM teach functions of management over insurance. You make those choices, right, or decisions on daily basis, and that is the actual work you even have to do, right? So routine or operational decisions, they are made on daily basis, and so you can sometimes refer to them as routine. They are routine because they are repetitive. Okay, they occur more. In fact, every day, every second, they are occurring. So that is for strategic, tactical, and routine. Please, any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Oh, professors ask question. If you don't ask me question, I feel like I'm not teaching. I feel like I'm just reading English. But at least you can be able to state 3 types of decisions we have discussed, and we are adding on. The next one is program decisions and non-programmed decisions. So let's look at these two. I'd want one lady and one gentleman to look at this. So the gentleman will look at the programmed, and the lady will look at the non-programmed. So gentleman who is picking the program decision, Prof. Emmanuel Kujo, can you do that? No, Augustine Akoli, you haven't spoken today. Augustine, program decisions, please take it for us.
Sir, please, program decisions. See, and well-structured decisions that are taken where established procedures are used. Lower managers are those who take program decisions. Lower managers are those who usually take programmed decisions as they go about performing.
Okay. So I think there were some network hitches there. Sorry for that. So I was saying that as we see the programmed decisions, they say they are routine or repetitive. They repeat, right? I would ask a follow-up question, so I don't want to dig deeper. But the non-programmed, they are non-repetitive. as in they occur once, probably once a year, or maybe once a month, right? Unlike the program, which is virtually every day or occurs more often. So it says that program decisions are routine, repetitive, structured decisions that are taken when established procedures are used. Lower managers are those who usually take program decisions as they go about performing their work. So he gives example like processing of employees' payroll and preparation of customers' bills. Now you see that these two things are things that are repetitive. Every month you have to pay employees. So every month you have to process their payroll. So if you make a choice, it makes it very repetitive, or you are able to put down a structured or a program whenever that issue pops up, as in that issue of you paying or processing your employee's salary comes up. Okay. If you are preparing customers' bill, it's virtual every day because customers every day will buy things from you. Okay. Now, the non-program says that these decisions are complex and require creative problem-solving skills. Now, the reason is because it doesn't occur often, so you might not even have any clue about it. Okay, that is why it is complex and requires creative problem-solving skills. In most cases, such problems are ill-defined and there is no method of dealing with them. These decisions often have a significant impact on the company and has to be carefully taken as it requires critical thinking. Managers at the top level are those responsible for making these decisions. Okay, so let's come to our various schools. Which of the decisions would you think is programmed and which of them would you think is non-programmed? Or should we start with our personal lives? Because we take a lot of decisions virtually every day. Which of them would you say is programmed and which one is unprogrammed? Okay, let me guide you. Listen to these two cases. You see, every day you have to eat, right? So making a choice of the type of food you want to eat, would you consider that a programmed decision or non-programmed? Yes, my professors. Okay, Prof, now let's hear you.
Please, I'll consider it a program decision
Okay, you consider that to be a program decision. Why?
because it's eating like something families would have to do every day, so it becomes a routine.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I think we all agree with her, unless you have a different opinion. Is there any different opinion? I don't think so. Okay, so yes, it's a program decision because it's routine. Every day you have to find something to eat, right? So such decisions are repetitive or programmed. Let me ask another one. Deciding on which senior high school to attend, would that be a program decision or a non-programmed? Okay, Prof now wants to look at it again, but I wish somebody else did that. Josephine.
Sir, please, it's a non-programmed decision
Why?
because it's a once in a lifetime something.
Okay, thank you.
Like it's not a routine.
Yes, very true. So I think these two scenarios now gives you the understanding of what programmed decisions are and what non-programmed decisions are. The non-programmed decisions are decisions that we take that, are for things that do not repeat or are not routine in nature. But for the programmed, it is repeated, right? So if you consider the two, you'd have to spend more time in making a non-programmed decision than a programmed decision. And I think all of us will agree that if you want to choose what to eat in a day, you don't stress a lot than if you want to decide on which senior high school to attend. You see the stress you have to go through before settling on St. Augustine's, and your mind is boggling. Am I even sure I want to be in this school and all that? But if you want to eat gobe or eat kivo gari, you don't stress that much, do you? Okay, so that's the bit about programmed and non-programmed. So I'm sure that along the line, I'll be putting some decisions on your page for you to determine whether this is programmed or non-programmed. And I think that you can do justice to it. The last group of decisions that we'll look at is the policy decisions. And I think we'll also look at organizational decisions and personal decisions, and finally, group decisions and individual decisions. So all these are types of decisions that people take either in an organization or as personal decisions. Okay, so let's look at the policy decisions. They are high-level decisions related to the firm's planning and policy, typically made by a company's higher or top management to define an organization's overall direction. They require extensive investigation and have a long-term impact on the business. So if you are not careful, you say that the policy decisions relate to the strategic decisions, because as I read, you saw that it borders about making policies by the high-level authorities or managers, right? And they require extensive investigation because they have a long-term impact. Because anything that has to do with policy is long-term in nature. That is why for the past, how many years, from 2020, for the past 4 or 5 years, Ghana's education policy is that nobody should pay any fees, free SHS, right? And that decision required an extensive investigation. Can we do it? Oh, we can't do it. Oh, we can fund it. And you are all witnesses to the fact that this is going to have a long-term impact on the country, right? So that is policy decision. The next one is organizational decision. This one is a choice made by managers in an organization to be able to achieve an objective. So any choice you make in the direction of achieving an organization's objective or goal is referred to as an organizational decision. Likewise, the personal decisions are mostly made by employees. Now, the decision is considered personal because it is made by the employee in their personal capacity, and that decision would have no impact on the business. So the difference between the organizational and personal is that the organizational decisions would have impact on the organization, while the personal ones do not have significant impact on the organization. So it says these personal decisions are clearly not transferable. So for example, I'm a teacher in St. Augustine's. If I decide to wear a black trouser, will that impact St. Augustine so much? But if I make a choice not to go to class, you see that is going to have an impact on what? On St. Augustine's. So then that will be considered an organizational decision, while the choice of color of my trouser would be a personal one. Okay, I can choose to write with a black marker or a blue marker. That has no impact on the organization. It's purely a personal one. Okay, great. Let's look at the last crop of decisions, and I think we'll be wrapping up shortly. I don't like boring my students with lots of theories, but as we do, I want you to gather the main concept in there. So group decisions and individual decisions, I think these are straightforward. Group decisions are collective decisions. So we take that decision as a group, whilst the individual will be by one person, okay, where that person uses his or her experience or the knowledge or information he or she has to make a choice. So individual decisions are made by just one person, but the group is a collective one made by two or more people. So professors, we have looked at, if I'm correct, about 10 types of decisions, from strategic to tactical to routine to programmed and non-programmed to policy decisions, organizational and personal decisions, and group or individual decisions, I should say. Professors, at this point, I'll pause for questions. If there are no questions, I think we'll do a recap of what we have learned and discussed today, and we will call it a night. And probably expect a simple exercise on your page where you would answer and submit on your private pages for marking. Please, those who have not created their private pages, I'm imploring you to do so. The page should be you, myself, and your parents, and that is where you submit your exercises and assignments for marking. Okay. The name of the group should start with BM, Form 2, BM, so F2, BM, and then followed by Prof, PROF, and then with your surname in a bracket. So maybe F2BM Prof Amwa. That should be the name of that group. Yourself, myself, and your parents. Okay, so those who have not created that page, you do so and submit the exercise. So professors, any questions? Any questions for me? Question time. Oh, does that mean we understand whatever we have done? Okay, since we are all showing understanding, I need summaries. What have we learned today? Or let me ask, what have you learned today in the BM class regarding decision making? I think this one I'll call as random. I think I have Grace, Prof. Grace Nyako. Welcome. The lesson is being recorded, so for those who had few issues or couldn't join early, I'll share in the page for your user. So what have you learned? Prof. Silicon, let me start from you. What have you learned from today's class?
Please, I learned that decision making is a structured process that involves making choices to best meet a desired outcome. And I also learned about the steps in the decision making process.
Okay.
And also the types of decision, the strategic, tactical, organizational, and the rest.
Thank you. So at least you have noted something. That's nice. So I think I can begin to ask specific questions. What is the first stage in the decision-making process? Yes, Prof. Now.
If you identify the problem.
Identify the problem. Okay, thank you. I think these are simple questions. Some say, your questions are very soft too. So let me ask this again. A company has a clear policy outlining vacation eligibility and approval procedure. When an employee submits a vacation request, the manager can approve or deny it based on established rules and policies. Now, what I just read is about employee vacation approval. So a manager would have to decide whether to grant the approval or reject it. Now, that decision, would you consider it as programmed or non-programmed? A manager either approving or rejecting employee vacation. Is that programmed or non-programmed? Yes, Prof. Bright.
Please, not programmed.
Okay, Bright says non-programmed. Why, Bright?
Sir, please. It's something that you don't do it mostly. Like all the employees don't do it mostly. So it's like it depends on the skills or like.
Okay, I think your point is well made. Any different thoughts? Do you all agree is non-programmed? Okay, I think I'll leave that discussion for our next class. So think it through. So professors, thank you very much. Today we have seen bits of decision making, and God willing, in our next meeting, we'll continue and finish it. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. God be with you and be with your spirits. Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.